Hello, welcome to day 2 of the Liverpool Fashion Summit. Today we're joined by Fee Gilfeather. Fee, good morning.
Good morning, hello.
How are things with you?
Things are good, thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be part of this.
No, thank you. I was just saying to Fee before, this is the first year we've done this, and to have someone collaborating with us like Oxfam, I mean, it's just a fantastic honor for us, and it's a real pleasure to speak to some of the leading voices and leading thought leaders in this space as well. So no, pleasure's all ours. So today we are focusing on the circular economy. Circular economy is our theme today, but we want to know a little bit about you first, Fee. So tell us who you are and how you came to be interested in this and working for Oxfam.
So I've been working with Oxfam for 13 years now, and I started because I absolutely love charity shopping. I have always bought clothes secondhand, shopped secondhand, furnished my house secondhand, and so when I saw a job that came up, my career previously was in marketing. And when I saw a marketing role for Oxfam shops come up, I thought it was my dream come true. It was my perfect job. So I started 13 years ago, and I've been there ever since. And we're working through different types of marketing jobs with our shops. But now I'm officially called our sustainable fashion expert. But I basically chief shopper would be my preference of a job title.
So a sustainable fashion expert.
Yes, that's one of my job titles. Yes, it's when I've spent a long time working with the shops, and I'm the one who knows a lot more about our sustainable initiatives, and so that's where I work in part of the time, and the rest of the time I'm doing a lot of marketing.
Okay. So if I was to dumb it down for myself, are you helping to align the shops and what they have with the broader, what would you call it, strategy of Oxfam?
Absolutely. I work with the shops. I work to promote the shops. I work to find ways that the shops can be exactly connected to our wider purpose, our wider mission, and in particular around fashion and clothing. It's looking at the sort of climate impact of clothing and finding ways that that messaging can align, and that we can sort of all be joined up with Oxfam's final global mission of ending poverty.
Yeah. So have you got a lot busier in the last few years then, as awareness has been growing?
Absolutely. There's been a huge trend towards thinking about the sustainability and the environmental impact of the fashion industry. It sort of started a few years ago when there was a parliamentary audit committee looking at, so it's the Environmental Audit Committee, looking at the environmental impact of fast fashion. And that was when people really started coming to us asking for our sort of opinion, and we also had done quite a bit of research looking into the impact of secondhand and looking at the cost of things going to landfill. So it sort of all came together over the past few years as fast fashion has grown.
Yeah.
That's sort of coming together.
Well, hopefully what we can do here today and throughout this whole summit is try to be additive towards not only what everyone else is doing, but what you guys are doing as well. So circular economy then. We just had a little discussion about it. How do you define it? Give us the best pass at what the circular economy actually is.
So I would describe it as making the most of our resources, our planetary resources. So if you're going to make something, you take raw materials, and what's happening a lot is that those raw materials are turned into a garment, for example. So you'll take cotton, make some clothing, it's worn once or twice, and then it ends up in landfill. But in the circular economy, you're looking to try and repurpose those materials instead of them going back into landfill. So it's all around sustainability, making sure that we're using resources and not simply wasting them and throwing them away. That's my personal interpretation of the circular economy.
No, I bought it. I bought that.
Excellent.
So is it slightly different to recycling then?
Yes, it's more about how industries are set up to be able to use materials. So at the beginning of the production process, using those raw materials, the producer should also be thinking about what the end of life might be of that garment or thing that they're making anyway. So it's more than recycling something and turning it into something else. It's planning from the outset how you're going to reuse those items and really keeping it sort of going as a continual loop is the idea. That's why it's a circular economy.
So it's a bit more of a systems level view rather than an individual product or material.
Absolutely, yes, yes. It's something which the fashion industry as a whole can consider. It's not just fashion where we're looking, or the world is looking at circular economy, but in particular, this is something which producers. So essentially, in the end, we will run out of raw materials. So we need to be thinking, how do we keep those raw materials in the system going?
Yeah, and I mean, clearly this is where the importance of charity shops, not just Oxfam, but other partners in the whole ecosystem comes in, isn't it?
Absolutely. We know that in the UK alone, 13 million garments go into landfill every week, which is
Week.
every week, 13 million. Yeah, I always have to say it again to myself because it's such a big figure. So 13 million garments going into landfill, whereas we could be reusing those resources, and also thinking of the environmental impact of landfill itself. So charity shops help divert a lot of that from landfill, give clothes a second chance to be worn again,
Yeah.
and it's absolutely why we're talking about secondhand.
13 million a week. I didn't even know that figure. That's over 500 million a year.
It's crazy, isn't it? It's 336,000 tons.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Where do they go?
Landfills, that's it. They go into landfills where they break down, they create environmental gases, greenhouse
Methane
gases,
and things like that, yeah.
and just all sorts of environmental destruction basically happening from this huge industry. The other impact of fashion, if you think about climate change and carbon emissions, most people assume flying and transport is one of the worst things you can do, but actually the textile industry creates more carbon emissions than international aviation and shipping combined. So the fashion industry is worse for the environment than flying, is a sort of shortcut way of looking at it. So 8% of carbon emissions created by the fashion industry, textiles.
We're gonna have to tweet that, Fee, because that's a perfect analogy. The whole of the fashion industry is more than, I can't believe you just said this,
Yeah,
is more than aviation and shipping combined.
absolutely. Yeah.
That and
Fashion and textiles. Yeah.
yeah, but isn't it strange how I know it's been happening more and more to fashion and textiles in the last few years, as we just mentioned before, but and quite rightly as well. And aviation does get a bad rap, and dirty fuels on shipping gets a bad rap, but it's almost non-comparative to the rap that fashion and textiles has got. Why is that? Is it because, I don't know, why is that?
I think there's a lot. Also, I don't know, but my personal interpretation
Of course, yeah.
I would assume it's that the constant marketing and advertising of fashion as being something sort of desirable. It's about how you present yourself. It's just a huge industry that's got emotional connections to it. I suppose flying is as well. If you fly, you're going to see friends and family. There's still emotional connections. So there's something about how the constant cycle of marketing around fast fashion has made people feel that they can't be seen in the same clothes as someone else. They can't be seen in the same outfit more than once. There's a lot of social media pressure that has really added to the growth of the fast fashion industry. And then the constant pressure on prices to make things affordable means that you can buy an outfit or something for £2. You don't need to worry about the cost of that. You can go and buy another one for another £2 and just keep that endless loop of never wearing things more than once.
Yeah.
So I'd say it's the economic pressure on the industry. It's just pushed it further and further down to be cheaper and cheaper and lesser quality.
Yeah, I think there's something about the fashion, the individual garments. They become you, don't you? Because you wear them. You don't wear your flight to America. You don't wear the shipping containers that brought, ironically, the fashion to you. I can imagine, but it becomes part of you. It's representative of the outward perspective that you give to the world, isn't it?
Absolutely. And one of the things we say about secondhand is that you can create your own individual look, your own individual style. Whereas if you're buying from the sort of continuous cycle of trends or collections that are coming out all the time, you could end up like looking like anyone else. So express your individuality. Shop secondhand is a great way of doing that. It's just a little aside of the conversation.
No, but it's a perfect segue, because I think we'd all love to hear about Oxfam and Secondhand September, because that's circular economy, really, isn't it?
Absolutely. So I mentioned that statistic of 336,000 tonnes of clothing going to landfill every year. Charity shops divert around 300,000 tonnes, so almost the same amount, from landfill. But then there's still that amount going into landfill. So there's more to do. And at Oxfam, what we're trying to do is talk about how people can just make small changes that might then build into habits. So Secondhand September is the idea that if you only shop secondhand for 30 days, take the challenge for the whole of September just buy secondhand. And then we found last year, people who took part, they kept it going for a few more months. Some people have done 3 months. I've done it ever since last year. For me, I've been doing it for many years, but every now and then you'll go and buy something new. But now I absolutely don't buy new. And it's that little behaviour change that then you realise, actually, this is how I can shop. I've still got a great wardrobe. I'm quite happy. We're trying to encourage people to take the pledge, share it on their social media with the hashtag Secondhand September, and tag Oxfam GP. And then we can count up how many people are doing it, and that's a sign of we'll be able to be part of a movement. And what we want to do is show to fashion retailers that we're really interested in the people who make their clothes. We want them to change make their business model more sustainable. And basically, we're talking about it being for people and planet.
Yeah. It's I'm just thinking, then should probably mention this is going out in the middle of September, but that's not to say you can't start your 30 days now.
Well, absolutely. What we say is that you can do 30 days at any point. Yeah. You could do your 30 days. Well, a lot of people are pledging for 60 days or more. So we're promoting it in September because Secondhand September is a nice name. But it goes well together. But also September is the time when the fashion industry introduces their new winter collections. Yeah. There's fashion weeks where they're talking about next spring already. So it's a time when people sort of tend to have a sort of switch round in their wardrobe into the new season. So this is a good time. And if you're doing that in October, that's still a good time to start. So it doesn't have to be in September.
Yeah, I just want to press on something that you just. I'll be kind, don't worry. Just something really interesting here. So we're doing this Secondhand September, and then we're taking the the amount of people who are doing it and all the findings to the fashion retailers and things like that. Is there not a tension there? Is there not a tension between you saying, everyone, well, these people want secondhand, but are they not pushing back and saying, no, we have a business to run, we have an operation to keep, and we're doing new?
Absolutely. We, as charity shops, need the new clothes to be able to keep selling secondhand clothes. So we're not saying the industry must stop. What we're saying is we want them to review their business model, which includes paying workers a living wage and making sure that they've got decent working conditions. It includes thinking about things like the circular economy. How do you reuse your materials? How do you consider how much water you use in production of garments? That's reminded me of another interesting statistic. To make one t-shirt and pair of jeans, it uses so much water that it would take 13 years for one person to drink that water in a normal water drinking cycle, not like permanently drinking for 13 years, but 13 years worth of drinking water just to make jeans and a t-shirt. So there's so much the industry can do to improve its practices. We're not asking the industry to stop. It's just about best practice.
Yeah, and as a perfect segue, so a lot of the people, a lot of our audience, they're going to be students, up and coming designers, young designers, maybe newly graduated, some local businesses, maybe some even medium-sized businesses. Talking very sort of, tangibly, what can we, after we watch this video, what can we get up and go and do?
Well, you've made me think of my cousin who is a fashion design student. And in all of her collections that she's had to produce, she's been using secondhand materials, secondhand fabrics, and upcycling them and repurposing them. She's got a real sort of sustainability focus on what she's doing. That is a really easy way that you can start with your collections. It's by looking for repurposed fabrics, thinking about the source of the materials, where the cotton is made, how much water's been used, and really thinking about the provenance of your materials, I suppose. Another thing is simply to spread the word about Secondhand September for us. It would be great help.
Yeah.
So by talking about it on social media, a good way to get the message out there. Other things that could be done are partnerships, working with a local charity shop, for example. We often have local fashion colleges who will come in and do the shop window. So it's just a way of, you could do the shop window, and fashion photographers do this as well. They'll do the shop window, take a photo, share it, and it goes into their portfolio. So there's different ways of connecting with your local charity shop as well.
Yeah, bring them into part of your work and your conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Fee, I know you're so busy, and we're so grateful that you've given us this time. So I think I'm going to leave it there. I've learned so much of all these analogies. We need to start using these on our social medias and help you spread the word. So
I could talk about this all day long. Thank you.
Maybe we should. Maybe we should. You know, once not once COVID's gone, but once things are a little bit safer, maybe we can bring yourself and a few of your colleagues up to Liverpool, and we might even do a real socially distanced event.
That would be great. Yeah,
Okay.
count us in.
Fee, thank you so much for your time.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you for having me.